Good day, good people of the internet, and welcome back to the best action on film and television! These are awfully infrequent, aren't they? Well, I'm trying. Now, of course, inspiration struck in the unlikeliest of places. I decided to revisit one of my favorite science fiction trilogies of all time, the Matrix trilogy. I realized just how much it influenced me and countless others all over the world. The Matrix is a lot of things for a lot of people. For some, like me, it is an expertly crafted science fiction world that defined the genre for years to come, while constantly staying true to its own internal rules, which are, ironically, meant to be broken.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
For some, it is an anime or comic book come to life, with no prior source material. It's full of mind-bending action, almost otherworldly visuals, that make it stand out among the several saturated genres it occupies. For some, it is the end-all be-all post-apocalypse movie, with a bleak tone and a bitter conflict between man and machine. It's the Terminator if Skynet fed on humans, which is not exactly a comforting thought, though it makes for a fantastic movie. For some, it's a philosophy crash course, and an introduction to the study of major world religions, which is always helpful to know no matter what you believe.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
For me, it wasn't just a sci-fi tour de force. It was my introduction to martial arts in movies. It was everything I didn't know I wanted to see, and that's all due to the genius of Yuen Woo-ping, the fight choreographer. It was because of him that this philosophical, post-apocalyptic, science fiction, original, quote-unquote, anime, in live-action form, was also an American-made martial arts production. It is the Matrix trilogy that exudes the finest part of fight choreography, more than any other movie or franchise, a little thing I like to call storytelling through action. Yuen Woo-ping does this by utilizing motifs, or recurring elements, throughout every fight in the trilogy, and establishing characters, the world, and the story through the choreography. I would like to address the motifs first. The standout recurring element is what I like to call the, "oh yeah? I can do that too." Characters will frequently try to one-up each other, and copy other characters' signature techniques. The main offenders in this case are Neo and Agent Smith. As protagonist and antagonist of a trilogy, this can be expected, but it's really developed here and made a part of their characters. Observe Smith's fight with Morpheus. The first thing old Q-Ball does is try to headbutt him. Smith responds in kind. "Oh yeah? I can do that too." What follows is a brutal brawl that ends with Morpheus crippled on the floor. We already established him as an equal and superior for Neo, so when Smith beats him with utmost ease, we know to fear him. But that's a discussion for later in the video. Later in the movie, when Neo and Smith fight one another for the first time, Smith tries to utilize Morpheus' headbutt. After a bit of fighting, Neo responds in kind. "Oh yeah? I can do that too." This establishes that Neo is developing both as a fighter and as a character. He's learning to adapt to the non-reality of the Matrix, and he's learning to bend and break the rules, namely by putting up a fight against the main agent. Of course, just like how Conor McGregor put up quite a fight against Floyd Mayweather, the claws eventually come out, and Neo is floored. Likewise, characters will develop their techniques that they learned, stole, or mimicked over the course of the trilogy, and they will reuse their favorites. These are choreography callbacks of a sort, but they're also a great way to show improvement. When sparring with Neo, Morpheus attempts to deliver a huge falling knee and stomp. This doesn't land. Ever. In the same sparring session, he puts one arm behind his back and one forward in a confident, powerful stance. He then gives Neo the now iconic Bruce Lee "come here" gesture and begins fighting with one hand behind his back. Neo adopts both of these, with both becoming a staple of his fighting style in the two sequels. This shows his development throughout the trilogy as a fighter and as the One. These callbacks and repetitions remind us that this character is the same one we've been following for all three movies, and that he's consistently evolving as a character and as a fighter. We see what is familiar, but we see it in new ways. We see it improved, adapted, played with, but never, ever abandoned.
Upgrades.
The Wachowskis and Yuen Woo-ping also brilliantly used the choreography to show little bits and pieces about the characters and the world. For instance, an agent always has rules and limitations in a fight, because agents are machines. Really strong machines, but machines nonetheless. Agents are limited to a few certain attacks. They can throw boxing punches such as jabs, straights, and hooks, a few elbows, and a push kick. They don't grapple because they're too strong to worry about joint manipulation, so they just grab and throw. They rarely block except to set up for a strike, because they can essentially face tank everything thrown at them short of a bullet. There was only one agent ever shown to break those rules, and it wasn't Smith. It was this guy. I call him Agent Taekwondo, because he uses kicks from Taekwondo, whereas the others use minimal to no martial arts. How and why does he break the rules, though? Simple. He's an upgraded agent, instituted by the machines to combat the One after Smith was deleted. There are new rules for him, which shows that machines see the One and see a threat. It's new information about the larger world learned through a fight scene. Note also how the humans and some human-allied programs fight. There's a whole lot of redirection, blocking, dodging, and grappling. Humans in the Matrix are martial artists compared to the boxing, brawling agents. Their movements are not lacking weight, but they exploit biomechanics and emphasize defense. Agents are essentially tanks. Humans are squishy. This presents a conundrum for the human resistance. How do they fight an unstoppable enemy? The answer is simple and really cool. Kung Fu. Lots of Kung Fu. Now, I'm no expert on Kung Fu. I'm somewhat familiar with the principles of most other major martial arts, to the point where I can at least recognize them in action, but the only style of Kung Fu I'm familiar with at all is Wing Chun. That said, I know it when I see it. And I see it a lot in The Matrix. One particular detail I noticed with the human combat strategy is that humans, unlike agents, prioritize defensive maneuvers. I'm going to slow down the footage of this scene and highlight exactly what I'm talking about. Also, watch for some Wing Chun. It's beautiful. The red X represented any strike landed by Agent Smith. Smith landed a total of 3 strikes during the fight. The red circle, or oval, represented any strike landed by Neo. Neo landed a total of 20 strikes during the fight. See the difference? I'll play it one more time at full speed, because the choreography is incredibly clean and fast. Note how Neo continually tries to keep Smith's hands as far from his body as possible, while rarely straying from the center line, except to dodge or kick. He only needs to start trapping and it'll be an almost perfect demonstration of Wing Chun's defenses and chambered punches. Neo is an astonishing defensive combatant, as are most humans. He routinely fights off agents in groups of 3, 4, or even, 100, avoiding their hands at all costs. Humans can't match the strength of the agents. It just isn't possible. That's where the Wing Chun and other styles come in. When they can't go through an enemy, they make the enemy try to go through them, and wrap them up in a flurry of defensive counterpunches and kicks, just as we see Neo doing in the Burly Brawl, one of the best fight scenes in the entire trilogy, if not the best. Agents, on the other hand, will face tank anything, because they cannot feel any fear of pain or death. It simply isn't in the rule set provided by the architect. That's what separates them from the human resistance. The Wachowskis and Yuen Woo-ping show just how the world of the Matrix functions through its fight choreography, and the action ultimately displays the two competing philosophies of the film: mechanical precision versus human choice and creativity. When Neo goes against the non-agent programs used by the Merovingian, who is strongly implied to have been the One at some point, they act somewhat like a mixture of the humans and the agents. They have incredible durability like agents, but they choose weapons from the wall and fight like humans. Were they programmed to do this? Did they go rogue? Are they unknown variable like the Merovingian himself? Could it be that these programs have the capacity to defy the machine's intended purposes for them, and choose, just like a human, how to approach any situation? Or were they given set parameters and rules like agents? These are essentially bite-sized chunks of the trilogy's overall theme of the conflict between choice and purpose, all represented in the fight choreography without a single word of exposition. Scenes like that, and this one, are why the Matrix trilogy contains some of the best action on the film. The elements I described are just a few of the elements that make the Matrix so great. Many imitators have come after, but nothing else seemed to get that beautiful balance of action and storytelling in a fight scene. No other movie I've seen has done exposition and world building through action without saying an expository word. In the Matrix movies, it's just as Seraph says.
You do not truly know someone until you fight them.
See you next time, everybody!